Hi, a very good day to all. In the last video, I have mentioned you about the chemical mention. I have mentioned about the chemical machining. Uh, this is in continuation with the last video, which is on module 3 uh, on electrochemical machining and chemical machining. In the last video, I have started with the chemical machining, which is the second part of the module 3 as per the V2 syllabus of NTM, that is non-traditional machining process subject. In the last video, I had discussed about what is the principle or the basic principle of chemical machining process, the types of maskants, application of maskant by three methods: the cut and peel method, photographic sensitive method, and the screen method. Uh, those are the different methods through which the generally maskants are being applied. Maskants are applied on a workpiece material on an undecided area, so that those area the material is not removed from the workpiece, and whereas the desired area is exposed to the chemical attack. The chemical which is used to attack on the workpiece for the possible removal of material from the workpiece, we call it as etchant, and the whole process even we call it as a etching process. uh, Basic advantages and limitations, these all things I had discussed in the last video. Now I will move to the types of chemical machining process. Generally, chemical machining process can be classified as chemical milling and a chemical blanking process. Chemical milling process is mainly used to carry out the shallow cavities or to perform shallow cavities on sheets, plates, and etc. Whereas it can also be used to selectively attack by the chemicals on the workpiece. Mainly it is used in the aerospace industries. They are used to fabricate microelectronic devices. Whereas chemical blanking process or a blanking process is used to blanking of sheet metals, material removed by the chemical dissolution. It is mainly achieved through material removal by chemical dissolution method. Chemical blanking is mainly used to produce fine screens, flat springs, and etc. The chemical blanking is relatively very cheaper process and also a very efficient process. Let us move to the chemical blanking. In the chemical blanking, generally photosensitive masking is used to define the location on the workpiece at which the material is to be etched. That is a one method. Photosensitive method is one method through which the maskant is applied so that the uncovered area is exposed, or it is it is used to define the area on where the machining has to be done. The steps involved is again similar which I explained in my last video, where the first one is about pre-cleaning of the workpiece. That is nothing but the preparation of the workpiece. That is the first step. Workpiece has to be prepared for the possible machining. It has to be cleaned and degreased so that there are no traces of greases or oil is remained on the workpiece. Second one is the preparation of masters. It consists of artworks and negatives used to produce the acid resistant image. Here the negatives or the images or photoresistant films are created with the help of masters, so that it can be used for n number of workpieces. So first, initially the master negative master is created, or a photographic film with master is created, and then produce it at a size 4 times larger than the actual size, and even can go up to 200 times. It is then reduced photographically, and then multiple image masters are being made. Masking with photoresists. Photoresists are applied to the workpiece first initially by dipping or whittle coating or spraying. Then they are used for materials up to 0.8 mm thickness. These photoresists have got they are especially used for high volume components. When the tolerance is tighter than plus or minus of 0.1 mm, dried at room temperature and baked at 110 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes to remove the residual solvent. Later it is exposed to UV light. This is how the mainly photoresist maskants are being developed, and then it is exposed to UV light so that it increases its resistance to the organic solvents. A vacuum printing frame is used for this purpose, to expose both sides of the workpiece simultaneously. Next, developing is done by immersing the workpiece in a suitable organic solvent, when then rinsed with water. So now the photoresist is dried at a room temperature and baked at 110 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes to improve the hardness and chemical resistance of the photoresist. That is, after the photoresist is completely dried over the undesired area, it is completely hard and it is possessing a high chemical resistance to the chemical attack, so that during the etching process or during the chemical machining process, it should not get decomposed. Because generally the polymers or elastomers, they have the high tendency towards the decomposition or degradation, even that is also possible. So that resistance has to be improved. That's why this is done at especially exposing it to the UV light, it is being done at 110 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes to improve its resistance. Then etching is done. The etching is nothing etching for blanking. The workpiece is immersed in an etchant bath, agitated by the air or a mechanical means. In the working principle of chemical machining, in the last video, I have mentioned about the mechanical means, that is by stirrer. A stirrer was shown in the principle, where the stirrer will stir the chemical, that is agitation it will do, so that the chemical is properly being mixed and the equal uniform chemical composition is achieved, and the chemical is agitated into the container slowly. Next, the etchant converts the metal into a metallic solvent so that it can be dissolved in the etchants. Generally, sodium hydroxide or ferric chloride, they are used as an etchants for chemical blanking operations. So this is these are the steps which I have explained in the last slides. The first step we can see here, it is about chemically cleaning the surface of the workpiece, that is preparation of the workpiece. Initially it is cleaned with the different solvents. When it is cleaned with the different solvents like acetone, there are no traces of oils or greases are remained on the workpiece, so that the workpiece is completely free from all such contaminants. And then it is coated with a photoresist maskant with the procedure which I have explained in the last slide. That is, initially a master is created and then master is kept, then the workpiece is dipped in the photoresist maskant, and then so that the chemical photoresist chemical maskant material is completely coated on the workpiece. Then it is exposed to UV light with the help of a master photographic film, so that only desired area is getting hardened and the machining area is completely able to removed. So that's why it is initially it is being exposed to the UV light, so that only the area which is need to be whereas the other black area is not exposed to UV light, only the gray area which we can see here, that is only exposed to light, so that only this much part is going to get hardened during the development of film or development of maskant over the workpiece surface. And the top layer is the photo tool or nothing but the negative of having the master surface area, When it is exposed to UV rays, the black area, black color area will not get hardened, whereas the other area is completely getting hardened so that the maskant is being developed on the workpiece, which we can see here, leaving the space where the area is not exposed to UV light. Later, the which is a soft area which is not getting hardened or which is not exposed to UV light, that is being completely cleaned away, so that the workpiece surface is directly exposed to chemical etching process, whereas the maskant is developed on the undesired area, which we can see here. Later, in the next step, the etchant is being made to flow, or it is the workpiece with the maskant is dipped in the container which is having a etchant, or the etchant is made to flow over the workpiece surface, so that the etchant will flow over the desired area on the or the surface of the workpiece. In this image, we can see on both the sides it was kept open, so that only this much part which I am speaking here, both the surfaces, that is on either sides of the workpiece, it is kept open so that the workpiece will get completely removed. Whereas in this part where this part where we can see that the top layer, the maskant is completely covered, whereas the below layer, no, it is not covered. That is only in the below area the material has to be removed from the workpiece, whereas on the top surface of the workpiece it is to be kept. That is nothing but a slot to the desired depth has to be created on the workpiece. And again, when I come to this much this detail of the workpiece, again it has to be completely removed on its edges, so that a rectangular cut can be obtained. That is how the blanking is being done. So here it is shown as a sample where we can see the on either edges which is to be removed on complete removal of the workpiece, whereas only this much part where only one side of the workpiece has to be removed to the desired depth. That is why different details are shown on the workpiece here. And then the etchant is being applied to a desired such a way that the desired depth of the workpiece is completely removed. Here the material chemical is attacking on the workpiece on either side, so that the material is removed till it's a desired depth or the complete removal of the workpiece, where the maskant is not applied. Where the maskant is applied on one side, that till the desired depth it is being removed. And here this is how the final workpiece which is obtained from this blanking process, where here completely removal of workpiece has happened, which we can see on this image. Whereas in the middle also or in this section where complete removal or cutting of the workpiece has happened, whereas in this part the top layer is covered with maskant, only bottom layer is not covered, so to the desired depth the slot has to be created, which has been created here. And again the complete removal of the workpiece to the through cut, which we can say. So this is how the machining is done in case of a chemical blanking process. Accuracy. Regarding the accuracy, the aluminum alloys with a thickness of 0.05 mm plus or minus of up to 0.0008 mm accuracy can be obtained. So this is a very good accuracy which we can obtain on during the machining process. The tolerance, if we check here, the tolerance is to a very greater level, and it is highly permissible in that's why final finishing operations in some cases we take up with the chemical machining process. Applications. Chemical blanking process is mainly finds applications like motor laminations and laminations for magnetic recording heads, slotted spring discs, gaskets, meter parts, camera parts, fine screens. These are some of the applications where we generally go with the chemical blanking operation. Next is about the chemical milling process. Chemical milling is mainly used for contour shaping in three-dimensional objects. Again, here also the first step is mainly the workpiece preparation. workpiece. Again, it is cleaned with chemicals like acetone for complete degreasing and removal of oil traces. Second one is masking. Here the masking is done by dipping or spraying or brushing or painting. The thickness of mask is around zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.4 mm, which we can easily achieve by spraying process or dipping process. But thicker mask will give better bonding strength. That's why generally the thickness is being increased up to 0.4 mm. Thinner mask may result in lower adhesion strength, and also during the process it may go off. So that's why a thinner mask is not preferred many a times. The masking techniques are same as that of the chemical blanking process, like photosensitive masking is being used widely. The next step after the masking is applied, next step is again it is etching. It is generally done by immersion, but spraying is also used. That is even for the etching process. Many a times we go with the spraying. That is the chemical is being sprayed onto the desired area, so that only that much part is clearly removed with the minimum etchants. If the agent is good enough to replace the material within a given short span of time, then generally spraying is done. Or else if it is required for a longer time or for a longer depth, it has to be required for the removal of material, then generally we go with the immersion. uh, Tapering is produced by withdrawing the specimen at a controlled slow rate, so that the initially it is not removed, so the larger diameter is obtained. At the depth of the workpiece, then it is exposed to a larger time, so that larger span of time, so that it can be removed in a larger manner. So that is how the material tapered cross section is obtained. When we are withdrawing the workpiece at a very slow rate, then generally a tapered cross section can be obtained. Sometimes the specimen is withdrawn after partial etching, so to release the trapped gases, because yeah, all of us know that during the chemical reaction, generally the workpiece during the chemical reaction the gases will be liberated. The releasing of trapped gases is also one of the important aspect, because the bubbles which are created, it may have slow down the process, it may decelerate the process of chemical reaction, or it may cause harm effects, or it may have the other kind of damages to the equipments also. So that's why releasing the trapped gases is also one of the important aspect during the chemical machining. Agents used are as same that of the chemical blanking process. Coming to the material removal rate. In the last slide, I have mentioned about when I go with the other kind of non-traditional machining process, we generally mention about the material removal rate in terms of volume per minute. That is how much volume has been replaced from the workpiece within a unit time. But when we come with the etching process, that is especially with the chemical machining process, mainly it is when the chemical is flown over a given surface area, the thickness is getting reduced uniformly throughout the workpiece. That's why here it is mentioned, and at the same time the thickness is reducing at a very slow rate. That's why here we are mentioning about reducing its thickness is nothing but in terms of per minute. We call it as etching rate here, rather than we call it as a mainly material removal rate. Though they both signifies the same thing, but here mainly we use a term called etching rate. The MRR depends chiefly on the type of etchant it is being used. Generally, etchants that remove metals faster tends to have many side effects, like reduction in surface finish, increasing the undercutting, increased undercutting. The undercutting will be higher when the etchants which remove the or which etch the workpiece at a very rapid rate. And also when it is doing the etching at a faster rate, then generally it will release the higher amount of thermal energy or enthalpy, so that heating of the workpiece occurs, or heating of the chemical occurs, and the uncontrolled chemical reaction occurs in the container, which is not at all desired. And attack it also attacks the maskant, so the maskant will also get degrade, or it may decompose. So these are all undesired effects of agents which remove the metal at a faster rate, and the work surface also. The etching rate is generally limited to 0.02 to 0.04 mm per minute. When accuracy is not an important parameter. Coming to the accuracy, under optimum conditions of time, temperature, and solution control, accuracies of the range plus or minus of 0.01 mm can be achieved easily. Surface finish. Generally, slow etching will produce a surface finish similar to the original surface. Typically, surface roughness of 0.01, zero 0.1 to zero point 0.8 microns. Depending on the initial surface roughness, it can be achieved. However, some under special circumstances or under special conditions, roughness of the order of 0.025 to zero point 0.05 microns is also possible. Here the surface roughness, if we observe the values which is obtained, or which is the range with which the range of surface roughness that can be obtained with the help of chemical measuring is around 0.1 to zero point 0.8 or 0.05 to 0.025 to zero point 0.05 microns. This is a very good surface finish which can be obtained on a given material or a given workpiece on any alloys, which will give a mirror kind of surface finish, so which is highly desired on some applications like bearing and other thing. That's why generally chemical machining is one such application where higher surface finish is desired. Then generally chemical machining is done after the other complete finishing with the other machining operations or conventional machining operations. Now, in general, let us move to the applications of chemical machining. Generally, high precision parts and decorative items are being manufactured with the chemical machining process. Metal removal from forgings, castings, they are generally done with chemical machining. Uh, Reducing the web thickness in forged parts, so that the chemical can be made to injected into the small fragile details of the casted component, so that the web thickness may get reduced. Engraving on the metal pieces, like example the gaskets, washers, sensors, nameplates especially that is being manufactured by the chemical machining process, even jewelries, microprocessor chips, these are all mainly you machined with the help of chemical machining. So in general, about the advantages of chemical machining or chemical blanking or chemical milling, in general the overall advantages: several parts can be produced simultaneously. No effect of the workpiece material properties such as hardness, inducement of stress on the material, simultaneous material removal. No burr formation, which is a highly desired characteristic when we speak about any kind of machining, because burrs are a common effect or a common parts which are obtained along with the machine surface. So that's why the no burr formation is always desired effect, because it make if it is not removed in the later stage also, it may act like a stress intensity component, or the a crack initiation points. Weight reduction of forgings and castings that can be achieved. Low capital cost of the equipment, because the only container, agitator, and maskant uh, heating coil, that is a initial capital cost, but when we go for maintenance and other things, obviously the cost will go on increasing. The initial capital cost is very low here. Easy and quick design changes can be achieved because there is no any such design which we cannot make it change. Like example, during the casting the dice has to be changed if I want to go for a design change, which again costs higher side. But here the challenge design change challenges are limited. Challenge we can change it at a very rapidly, so that only that much area if we apply the maskant, and other area if we expose it to the chemical, the design changes on the workpiece can be achieved easily. Requirement of less skilled worker. Relatively less skilled worker is required here compared to the other machining process. Especially when we go with the plasma arc machining or laser beam machining, here the highly skilled labor is not required, but skilled labor is obviously required for chemical machining. The good surface quality can be obtained, as I mentioned, 0.0, 0.8, 0.025, 0.5. So this is how the surface roughness which can be obtained, which is of a very top surface quality. Using decorative part production, like even we can see the mirrors, decorative mirrors which we use at our homes. Those are all generally machined with chemical, and those are completely manufactured with the chemical machining process. The scrap rate is, again, it is a very low here. The scrap rate is very less. If possible, we can even precipitate the metal which is being removed and take it out. Limitations: very low MRR. Majorly the material removal rate is very low. The whole process is slow. It cannot produce a very sharp corners. That is another important limitation. Because of that reason, we have to again again perform the secondary process, so that the sharp corners are required. Sharp details can need to be obtained. It is very difficult to chemically machine very thick materials. Limit is dependent on the workpiece material, but the thickness should be around maximum 10 mm. Scribing accuracy is limited, so it causes less dimensional accuracy. Etchants are very dangerous for the workers, so high safety precautionary methods need to be adopted for the operator. So high safety and maintenance precaution measures has to be taken with respect to the workers or operators when they are carrying out the chemical machining process. Etchant disposals, again, it is very expensive, and they are chemicals. Finally, it has to be disposed at most care, or at a very high care, so that it is not causing any harmful effects on the environment, or to the other who is who may come in contact with such etchants. So this completes the module 3 as per the V2 syllabus, which is mainly on electrochemical machining and chemical machining. Thank you all for watching this video. If you have any queries, please mail it to me. There is a mail ID along with this video. If you have any doubts, you can for any queries you can mail. You can get some clarifications. I will attempt to clarify those queries. Also, as a disclaimer, I hereby declare that I have used different resources from the internet as well as from different textbooks for preparing this teaching material. This video is specially or only meant for teaching the student as a teaching material, not for any profit purpose. So I hereby declare that I acknowledge all such sources through this video. I thank to all for what you especially for patient listening, also to our college and management for encouraging us to prepare this video. Thank you all.